Port of Corpus Christi updated city council members on the new Harbor Bridge resident relocation program. It's in response to complaints last week from homeowners in Hillcrest, Washington, and Coles neighborhoods. Our Brian Burns was in council chambers when port officials responded to complaints last week.
We listened to those concerns. We are taking corrective action. We are adding additional demolition contractors. We're also adding additional rodent control and animal control contractors.
Concerns that demolition crews weren't wearing protective gear to remove asbestos, rats being driven from homes being demolished into other homes, and residents abandoning pets, leaving them to wander the neighborhood. Those concerns brought to council by residents in those North Side communities, by people who live there, like Barbara Major.
I think they handled it very well. I mean, they jumped on it right away. They got rid of the company, and they showed us how much they care, that they're concerned about us over there.
Port CEO Sean Strawbridge says a lot of progress has been made in the relocation program.
112 have already been relocated of the owner occupants. 74 have been relocated. Tenants, we've relocated 93. They've received their entitlement packages. We've relocated 64 of those.
Port Board Chairman Charlie Zahn says the port is pleased the relocation program is going so well.
The program to me and to the commission has been more successful than we ever dreamed of. It was a program that had never been done in the United States before.
This is the last year of the 3-year relocation program. Brian Burns, 3 News.
All right. Well